All right, looks like I am in. Hello, everybody. Good Tuesday evening. This is my second week in a row. Told you last week I was going to try my best to come back and do these on a consistent basis, and here we are. I am doing it again on Tuesday night at 7:30. Still think I might flip between Tuesday and Wednesday, just depending on my schedule, but I think the time works really well for me. I don't know that I'm always going to go 2.5 hours like I did last week. I still can't believe that I talked for 2.5 hours. You all kept me talking for 2.5 hours. If you ask me a question about cruises, like I have to answer it. Like I'm gonna answer all of them if I can. Might take me a while to get there, but I enjoy it. So welcome to the chat, everyone. I know we've got a few people already in the video, and we'll take it from there if it is. I think it's interesting. So I started this live screen here on the left. So I see like my studio setup. And then on the right, I have the actual YouTube setup. And I just got in a few seconds ago. So I know you all are probably catching up. And it also dawned on me today, too. Like I do these polls and, I try to engage with you and get you to interact. And with the way that the ads work, I think everybody's listening to the video at different places. Like if you watch an ad, you get delayed and you probably have to like speed it up. I need to watch other people's lives a little bit more often to see how they're handling all that. But it's an interesting little situation there. Hey there, Doug. Got Tom coming in. Scott and Lara coming in. Good evening. Good evening. Brian Wall. Where's everybody from? I'm always curious just to hear where people are at. So on my last sailing, actually, so I was on MSC, and you all know that the MSC videos that I've made have done really well, especially if you're going on Magnifica. There's some really good videos that are out there about it. And I met probably 10 different people that knew me from the channel, which was fantastic. Hey, everybody, if you're watching this after the fact. But I met one couple that came over from, I want to say Scotland. It was either Scotland or England. No, excuse me, it was Scandinavia. It was up in like Norway is where it was. So they had watched the channel and recognized me. And so it just always blows my mind when there's that much of a reach to the channel that people in India are watching it, people in Norway are watching it, people in the UK. It's insane. So thank you all for the support. And I know you're probably not on the live because it would be very late your time. But during the day when you're awake, I'm at work. So it doesn't always work out too good. Hey there, Cheryl. Welcome. Hey there, Vap. And Jen, you just can't get enough. I love it. Thank you for joining as always. Florida Cruisers. There's a good name. I like that. Hey, Thomas. And hey, Sarah, who's probably sitting beside of you. Dino, Nashville. Ooh, hold on. Let's see if I can get this one from Ontario. Mississauga? I think I got that right. Mississauga. Sounds like a Native American style name here because I think we have the Muskogee tribe out in by the Everglades. I think it's is it Muscat? What is the name of the one? They even have the casino way out in the west, but I can't say the name apparently when I want to put my mind to it. Doug is in Jacksonville. Tom Brady, welcome back. Port St. Lucie with John Sigourn. I need these comments to go quicker because some of these I want to go through a little bit faster. Greg, welcome back once again. Always a pleasure. Warren from Pennsylvania. We've got Chrissy coming in from Jupiter. We've got Emily coming in from Kentucky. We've got Tom coming in from my home state, Chapel Hill, is where he's at. It's about 2 hours away from where I grew up at. So let's jump into some of the items here today. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up this QR code once again. This will be the only time I mention it on the call. If you are considering supporting the Weekend Cruiser monetarily and you want to make a donation, please use the QR code there. There's also a link down in the description below. I get like 98% of what you donate through here. If you do it through YouTube, absolutely still appreciate it. I'm only going to get like 40 to 50% of it. So just throwing that out there if it's something you're interested in. I'm also looking, I was talking with Jen, who's on the call earlier, about how can I build this platform out. So with the Patreon kind of platform that's out there, and with Buy Me Coffee, they do the same thing, where you can have a monthly subscription. And so if there's something that you all would find valuable to hear from me that you're not already getting from the content, I think this is where I scratch my head a little bit, is what would give you a value add? What would you want to see if you were paying a monthly subscription? So I've not built that out there yet. You can always just go in and donate $1 if you want to. That would be greatly appreciated. I do get a notice. And I even figured out, so I got several of them from the last live chat, I can reply with a video reply to you, which I thought was super cool. So instead of just like typing you out an email or responding to your comments, I can actually send you a personalized video to say thank you, which is really neat. So last time we we're talking about that, but if you do want to donate, use the QR code in the upper section of the screen. It's my upper left. I think that's probably upper left for you guys. I don't know if it switches around or not, but I probably should learn a thing or two about technology here. Scott going on the MSC Seashore August 1st. So Scott, you may be in luck on some content coming your way. I'm pulling up my spreadsheet here. I've got the MSC on June 20th, the Seashore. I'm going to be there. So you know that I'm going to do a full ship walking tour, what you need to know, all those great things. It'll be a quick weekend. Hopefully you're doing a weekend as well. But I'll have some good content out there for MSC's Seashore to be able to share with you my experience there. On the surface, like I did the Seaside earlier and I loved that class of ship. Going over to the Divina or the Magnifica, like they're still good ships, but the way that the Sea class is designed, I kind of wish that the names were a little bit different. By the time you talk about Seaside, Seashore, Sea View, Seascape, I started getting confused what sea class or what sea ship I'm on. So, but I'm a big fan, so I'm looking forward to going back. Looks like the Seaside's a popular fan out of Canaveral. August 24th sailing here from the Florida Cruisers. George, somebody's in my own backyard now, coming to you from Miami. Hey there, George. Marissa, I miss you too. I hate that I've not been able to make it on a cruise with you recently. I've seen Mom and Dad a few times. Hey, Mom and Dad. But I haven't had a chance to see you just yet. Hope all is going well. Tom's in Las Vegas. Hey there, Cindy. And I got the Ontario name correct, Mississauga. I'm very impressed with myself. So it's just east of, or it's the west end of Toronto, for those that are interested. The tribe that I was thinking about, thank you for this, Florida Cruiser, was the Mississauga tribe. Kind of similar to Mississauga, but a little bit different. Hey there, Gail. Just gave you all a shout out with Marissa. Love it when you can make it. Joining by Facebook as well. So for those of you that don't know, we also stream over on the Facebook side of the house. I figured why not expand? There is a Facebook page as well, and it is different content than what you see on YouTube. On Facebook, you're going to see more pictures, more random thoughts for me. Like that's where I'm leaving little notes and things. So if you want to see just videos, you can do that on YouTube. If you want to see something a little bit different, check out the link down below to the Facebook page. And speaking of which, whatever platform you're on, make sure that you press the thumbs up or the like button for me. I realized I spoke the entire 2.5 hours last week, and I never mentioned press the thumbs up button. So if you do get a chance, please do that for me. I see we have only one thumbs up right now, it looks like, and would love to get that number up a little bit more. It just makes the algorithm like us a little bit more. My thoughts on Virgin Voyages cracking down on travel agents soliciting on their cruise ship, Scott. So the first thing that comes to mind is, number one, all cruise lines have a no solicitation policy for travel agents on their cruise ships. That is just standard practice. I've never heard of anybody truly enforcing that. There are travel agent conferences. There's junket conferences who are a different kind of travel agent for the casino. They bring them all on board, but I mean, any kind of soliciting on board is prohibited. Whether they enforce it or not, I guess, is the different question here. I will say, interestingly enough, Virgin Voyages is the only cruise line that has an affiliate link. So if you watch some of my Virgin Voyages videos, there's actually an affiliate link where if you book direct, I will get a small, very small percentage of what you book directly with them. Very similar to if you were to use one of the Amazon links and buy my 10-foot cord that I'm always raving about for charging. Virgin does that as well. And so I would say that I don't want to speak for Virgin. I mean, I like Virgin. I enjoy going there. But I definitely get the impression that travel agents are not the end-all be-all for Virgin Voyages like it is on other cruise lines. That's just my personal thought on how they do it. I've not heard of how they're cracking down on it. I mean, I don't even know how they would know that somebody is soliciting business on a cruise ship unless they just happen to overhear it. But I can't imagine the crew would be like, oh, can't be soliciting. Like, I know you're a travel agent. You can't tell anybody. I would say that, my thoughts to travel agents, not being a travel agent, love my travel agents, by the way, is, don't come across as salesy. If you are on the ship and you're getting to know somebody and it comes up that you're a travel agent, wonderful. I think when it's organic and it's natural, that's fine. If you are walking around passing out your business card to everybody, leaving it in the elevator for people to pick up and find and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't go that way. That just rubs me a little bit wrong. But if it comes up in a conversation, you might actually be able to help somebody and build a connection, and they'll find a good travel agent. I'm constantly on here preaching about find a good travel agent. And everybody's like, Brandon, how do you do that? How do you find a good one? How do you know? And I think that, if you meet somebody in person, especially somebody that goes on cruises, you're already halfway there. There's a lot of travel agents that honestly don't go on cruise ships. They might not even go on the brand of cruise ship or the style that you go on. So by getting to meet them in person, talk to them, I think that's a win. But I want to make sure that feels a little organic. Travel agents on here, keep me honest in that conversation. If I'm saying something that doesn't quite jive, or you got a different opinion with, let me know. Want to know? Here you go. I like the little rhyme that you got there. Hello from Georgia. Chrissy Witten, welcome. What line have you been sailing on lately? I have been on, let me pull up the calendar. I was on the Magnifica. I've been on Symphony of the Seas. With Royal Caribbean, I did Celebrity Reflection. And before that, I was off for 3 weeks. So the last 3 weeks that I've been here, I've been on a different cruise line every single time. So I have a video scripted. I keep saying I'm going to make this on survey fatigue. So I've got, if you go to my inbox right now, you've got Celebrity, MSC, and Royal Caribbean all asking me for feedback on how my cruise went. So I've enjoyed all of those. I would say that probably the Reflection was my favorite. I'm a little bit biased because that was a group cruise that we went on. But I really enjoy the Celebrity Reflection. The enhanced food that they have for a weekend sailing is just fantastic. So if you can go on it, I think these days it's selling at a little bit of a premium compared to MSC, definitely. To Royal, might depend on the weekend. But definitely check them out of Port Everglades. It is a wonderful experience. And if you want to know more about group cruises, we've got one coming up on September 26th, Independence of the Seas. I'll throw this up real quick. So this just gives you some of the rates. Sign up down below for the email. Even if you've already signed up for the email, this will send you all the updated information. And you can always email me directly if you have specific questions. Brandon@theweekendcruiser.com. I've got a proper email address finally. But it is a 3-night on Indy out of Port Everglades is where we're going out of. The details on the ports are a little bit wrong because it was going to Labadee. As you all know, we're not going to Labadee anytime soon. So we're going to be doing Coco Cay instead. But it'll be 2 solid sea days, which I think will be really cool to be able to engage with you, do some activities, some really fun stuff. Group rates on this are going to be expiring. I need to check to see if the group rates are lower than the full rates right now. I have to imagine that they are, but those are going to be expiring probably the middle of June. Royal Caribbean can always pull those away from us, I understand. But until then, the final pay is when it's going to happen, which will be next month. But if you can make it, let us know. Go to the website, go to the link. Let us know that you can come on, and we'll be glad to hang out with you. I think we've got 12 or 13 people already, which is super exciting because I get to meet more of you. Let me go back to this screen. Oh, Voyager out of Barcelona. That'd be really nice. You're probably going to some cool places then. Pam, welcome back. Hey, Brent. They just got back from the Icon of the Sea, so I was listening to all of their stories. the more that I talk to people about me just not wanting to go to Icon, people that have been on Icon are telling me that I really need to give it a try. I keep hearing that from multiple people that, yes, Brandon, we know what you think of it. That's how they've kind of marketed it. But when you get there, like, it's not really that experience at all. And Pam and Brent definitely had an amazing time on their cruise. If nothing else, I might go there and wind up loving it, but I'm certainly not going to go there and love the price these days. If nothing else, I'll go on her in 5 years when she's kind of got that price down. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Bob. Hope you're doing well. Urbia. I don't know what Urbia is. Is that a cruise ship? I feel like that's the name of a cruise ship, but I don't know what that is, Chrissy. Hey, Ken. Welcome. Sabino, have I done NCL? I have not done NCL. I would love to do NCL, and I keep trying to find somewhere in my schedule that I can make it work, and it has not happened. So they used to consistently have the Norwegian gym selling out of Miami doing weekends, and she's not done those recently. Norwegian has spotty weekend sailings out of Miami, and I just honestly have not been able to make one work because I think they're kind of out of the business these days. Even my 2025 schedule, which is, I don't want to say it's all booked because I want to see if I can squeeze a couple of more in there, but I got a lot booked in 2025 already, mainly in the first part of the year. But the Norwegian did not make it on there. Carnival, on the other hand, I'm going to be doing my debut on Carnival. I say debut. My very first sailing in 2009 was on Carnival. I'm going to be going there towards the end of next year. So more to come as Brandon does Carnival. Hey, Alan with a Y, welcome from Central Park on Symphony of the Seas. I love Central Park. This is one of my favorite places. Hope you got a nice show going on tonight and getting ready for some of the jazz music they do up there. Hello from Tampa, Destination Fun. Hey, Antoinette, welcome to the live stream. How about adding your TA info to a duck on Royal? I would think that if Royal Caribbean found that, they would not appreciate that. I think that they already don't appreciate the ducks in the first place. So you kind of got two strikes going for you. There was, I think, is it Carnival that has banned ducks that says they can't even do it? So I think that cruise ships don't like the ducks to start with, let alone if there's solicitation on it. Which, if a crew member finds it, and a lot of crew members do find these, and they keep them. I see that they collect them, they like them. If that gets into the wrong hands, your information is there, and they can easily say that this person was soliciting on the cruise ship. So I probably wouldn't leave a lot of evidence like that. I think that's just asking for trouble. I love the fact that all of you are joining from cruise ships. Andrea coming in from Liberty of the Seas. And more importantly, that the Wi-Fi is good enough that you can connect. I think that is huge steps up for us that the streaming package will allow you to do this. Speaking of which, I want to do a quick poll with you all while we're going through all this. So one thing that I am debating on is, do I want to buy a new webcam? So I've got this webcam that I'm using now, and it does a decent job. It is 1080. But I want to know, how do you watch the live streams? Do you watch it in 1080, 4K? If you're on your, like watching it from a TV, you're probably watching it in 4K. They do make 4K computer monitors, which I don't even have, interestingly enough. But I'm curious, what are you guys watching this on? If there would be any value in me upgrading my camera, it's not terribly expensive. It's like $200 probably for a 4K webcam. What are your thoughts on, what are you watching it on? If nobody's watching it on 4K, let's keep it at 1080 and I'll go on another cruise for that $200. But if there's people watching it on televisions or places where you have 4K monitors, would love to know that. Symphony of the Seas, Tony coming in. There's somebody else. Ali with a Y, I think, is on Symphony as well. So maybe you two can link up there, Tony. Cindy coming in from Icon. I love it. On a cruise ship and wanted to hear more about cruise ships. Silhouette Spring 2025. I enjoy the Silhouette. That is a really good class of ship there. Indiana, Mary, welcome. Dina, great question here. And so this is one that I want to talk about in that video I was just talking about of, survey fatigue. I get so many surveys from the cruise lines. I am at this point, I'm not really responding to a lot of them. That is the truth to it. I just don't, because I have gotten so many of them and they take a while to complete. They're long, they're not quick. If it was just a one score, like how was your cruise, like on a scale of 1 to 10, great, I could do that. But by breaking it out into so many different segments, I kind of just don't do them these days. And I hate to admit that. I just don't. And I've never been one that if something went bad, that I'm putting it in the survey. If something has gone bad on my cruises, and it normally doesn't, very rarely have I ever had to do this, but I will just escalate it while I'm on the ship. I don't want to save up that energy for when I'm hot and bothered and filling out my survey. I'll just go ahead and let people know on the spot that, hey, this could have been a better experience. But I wish that I did it more, but I don't. So no negative comments about it because I feel bad enough that I don't do it. But I don't. That's the truth to it. Maybe I'll do better now that I've kind of admitted that. It is an MSC ship. I was right. I wasn't missing that. She has not come over to the US yet. So maybe I would love to go on more MSC ships. So far, I've done a very limited number of them. The Seaside, the Seashore, no, Seaside. I'm doing Seashore next month. I've done Magnifica and I've done Divina. I'd love to get on a few more because, I got to build up my ship collection in the other room. I got to collect them. And I like the ships from the MSC ship a lot because they've got that wooden base to it and then it's metal on the top. They're really well done. I like them a lot better than Royal and Celebrity's plastic that turns yellow here in the Florida summer. So let me come over here to the poll real quick. Let's see. If you haven't answered it, go ahead and do that for me. Looks like there's a few votes that came through. Not many people coming in at 4K. I'll be curious to see what the numbers are here. Let's end that, get some details on it. So it looks like 70% of you watched it in 1080 and 29% of you watched it in 4K. So maybe a decent amount that I might want to consider upgrading, especially if I'm going to start doing these more frequently. The link to the group cruise, did I not put it in? I probably did not. Let me put it in the chat real quick for you. It is the Weekend Cruiser website. So theweekendcruiser.com, but here it goes into the chat. I wonder if I put it here, if it goes to both. Hopefully it does. There we go. So that's where you can find the actual listing of it. If you want to sign up, there's a link there to have the travel agent get in contact with you. Would love for you to do that. Selena, I thought that you had already done that though. But if not, that's okay. You're certainly welcome to do it, but make sure you sign up for the newsletter as well. I'm going to start sending more information that way. And hopefully we can get 2025 launched soon. I want to have multiple cruises for you all to choose from so you can come and sail with me. Oh, from down under. Welcome, Robert. I was just talking earlier. It always amazes me at how far the channel has reached to it. So in your case, I guess we are in the morning hours over there. So this is working well for you, the little pre-work routine. Disney banned the ducks. I knew somebody had banned them. And I kind of get it. They will become an eyesore. And who knows? I've seen... So it's interesting. I'm thinking about Virgin Voyages here. There's some people on Virgin were hiding ducks, but they were hiding like adult ducks, if you will. They were PG-13. I wouldn't say that they were X-rated, but they were PG-13 on Virgin. And I think that would definitely be frowned upon, but it was kind of funny, honestly, in the moment. But I can see reasons why they wouldn't want them everywhere. And it sets a bad precedent probably for the cruise lines on what else can be brought in. Here's another one, Principe. I wish that I could go on Princess Cruise Lines. I do. Princess, Holland, there's all these cruise lines that I would love to go on, but they don't do weekends. And so the options that I have for them have been extremely limited. I know people swear by Princess Cruise Line, so I would love to go on her, but I just haven't had the opportunity to, unfortunately. If there is ever a short cruise, I will find it and I will go on it. But so far, That is not, their market is not people who want to go on short cruises, unfortunately. Ah, Michelle, you're gonna have a blast. Let me know if it's changed any. When I was there, the main thing I'm watching for here, when I was there, which was like their first one, there weren't that many kids. So I'm curious to see if Celebrity, even on a weekend sailing going to Coco Cay, is going to be able to say that they don't have many kids, which I think is a huge selling point to going on Celebrity's weekend sailings. Cindy, so you say this, and I was doing the walking tour of the Magnifica this weekend, and I mean, first of all, if you live in Florida or you're somewhere down here, you know that we were extremely hot and humid this weekend. And so I'm walking around the ship, and I can't talk and walk at the same time really well, especially the walking tours where sometimes I go up the stairs and I'm still talking because those are just me filming one shot, walking around with the camcorder, telling you about camcorder like it's 1985 with my little camera over here. But I was giving out of breath constantly. And I think I even apologized at one point because you could hear me like trying to like stop myself and gasp for breath. Part of it, I just get excited about talking about everything and I forget to breathe. And then I wind up climbing stairs when it's 105, 110 heat index outside. Not pretty. But doing it on the Peloton would be absolutely impossible unless I was just doing a very, very easy ride. That does not sound like fun. Often on the TV, but now on the phone. Excellent. It's always weird when I see myself on the TV. When I visit my mom, we'll watch it on the TV every now and again. And it's amazing to me to see me that large because I see myself in just a fraction of the screen here. I don't see the big screen like that. Perfect, Nick. You're at 1080 as well. No 4K from Martine. I have not been on the Celebrity Ascent. So I think the Celebrity Ascent is an Edge class ship, if I'm not mistaken on that. And I would love to. I've heard so many good things about the Apex, the Ascent, the Beyond, the Edge. People that I know that have gone on those, they are amazing ships. They're not too big either, which is another reason I think that I'd like them. They're kind of like that Goldilocks size, not too big, not too small. I think that I would really enjoy it. So if you're able to go on it, please let me know what you think. But I would love to. Again, they don't do short cruises yet. But if Celebrity winds up following Royal Caribbean's lead on this, they will absolutely be bringing one of those ships to do a weekend soon enough. So I'm just buying my time. Robert, I love it. Son works at Princess, but you are loyal to Royal. Good for you. Though I would definitely check some of those Princess friends and family discounts you might can get. That would definitely sway me a little bit. Oh, you're going to have a blast. So Bimini, not my favorite, not anybody's favorite. It's kind of a sleepy place. Rent a golf cart. That's the best thing to do in Bimini. Key West is an amazing spot, though. I love going to Key West. Just the energy of Key West is fantastic to me. You can walk around Duval Street, Flagler. You can walk around and just see the energy that's there, the amazing food that they have. It's a little bit more expensive. Make no mistake, the drink prices from this last weekend, Andrew that I was cruising with told me that they were the exact same as the ship. So you're not going to get a discount by getting off the ship and trying to drink or eat. It'll be expensive, but it's going to be good. That's the key to it. And they've got some history. They've got a beach. They've got a little bit of everything in Key West. So I'm excited, or would be excited for that cruise. Lori, coming to the Magnifica in June. If you are there, let me come back to said spreadsheet, change the years. If you are going on June 14th, I will see you there. If one of the other ones, I will just miss you. But hopefully, I'll be there, Lori. Saying hello, hello. I think, Greg, you're right on this one. Summit's a lot of people's favorites. I don't remember, Greg, have you been on one of the Edge class ships yet? I'm curious what your thoughts comparison are on the Summit and there. I like the Summit a lot too. It's a really good size. It's a remodeled ship. Feels pretty new when you get to her. I like it a lot. Hey, Kevin. Today you're on your phone. A lot of people just joining however they can. I love it. And again, no preference here. I just love that you all actually want to come and hang out with me for a little bit. I always think this is cool. Any ideas on the single supplement for the group cruise? The best that I can say is go to the Facebook page or the Facebook group, The Weekend Cruiser. The group is The Weekend Cruiser Official, and see if you can find somebody there who might want to share the cabin with you. I'm not going to get into the matchmaking business, if you will, of, hey, I've got solo who wants to go with somebody else. I think there may be websites out there that do that, but I just don't want to be held responsible if that goes horribly wrong. But that's the best thing that I have for it. The single supplement is something I'm looking at for the 2025 ones, trying to find ones that are more reasonable. And to do that, we have to book them further out. But for the most part, you're looking at 200% if you're not able to get a solo room or have some kind of a discount that the cruise line's running. It's really unfortunate. Some cruise lines these days, Celebrity being one of those, Royal Caribbean being one of those, are even charging sometimes 250%, if not more. Not only the 200% for the single supplement, but even more, which is kind of highway robbery to me. I don't know how they're getting away with that, but it's them telling us that they don't want the solo cruiser business. And as you can see, I've gone some other places. The other thing is just look way in advance. I booked several of the Silhouette for the beginning of next year. She has 4 solo cabins on her, and I was able to snag 10 of them, I think. Yeah, maybe 6 of them I got. So that's how I'm doing it. But for the group cruises, I haven't checked the rates recently. I need to do that. And I'll send out an email and I'll try to specifically call out the solo price or percentage or whatever it's going to be. But next year, I'll see if I can do a better job. It still might be tough for the ones that I have in mind, but I'll see what I can do on that. That might be a place where Norwegian, for a longer sailing at least, would really come in handy with all the solo cabins that they have on their cruise ship. But I haven't planned any of those. Are your weekend cruises usually always 3 nights? They are, Matt. If it is, by definition, a true weekend sailing, it is Friday afternoon. So all aboard will be around, Celebrities is earliest. It's probably 3 o'clock, 3:30, all the way up to 4:30 with MSC. They can be a little bit later. And then you're back on land first thing Monday morning, able to get off the ship at 7 a.m. So that is a true weekend cruise. MSC's Seashore and Seaside have been doing, I call them weekends, but just because it kind of fits. It is a Thursday to a Sunday, which is still 3 nights. It's most of the weekend. It is not an authentic weekend cruise. And then you've got my even more favorite one is an extended weekend cruise. So that's where the cruise ship's going to leave on Thursday and it's going to come back in on Monday morning. This works out really well if you have Friday being a holiday, or if you can work remote for one day. For me, if I'm in port somewhere, I will, take a risk and work remote from that port where I have a backup option outside of the ship Wi-Fi. I would never do that if we were at sea. But that's my favorite, is the 4-night extended weekend sailing. 3-night weekends is just the best that I can do most of the time. Michelle, fingers crossed that I have the same experience. I hope so. I hope you have a good one. And I think you will. If you go into it with an open mindset, you're going to be fine. On the Beyond in November handles rough seas very well. So I think that's one of the main advantages to going on newer cruise ships these days. I feel like they are better equipped, better built to withstand rocky seas. Of course, some of the old ones don't even have stabilizers on them, which is crazy to think about, that we used to cruise around all the time without stabilizers. That would be my first Carnival sailing, I think. I don't believe the Fantasy had stabilizers on her, because we left New Orleans and we were rocking and rolling. Still to this day, one of the most rockiest sailings I've been on. These days, I've not felt hardly any ships rock at all. There's been the one that I had going around the South American Horn, Cape Horn. That one was really rocky, down by Ushuaia, down by Antarctica. But you know that the southernmost point is going to be really rocky. The seas there are notorious for that. And so we were expecting it. We were prepared. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely was one of the worst rocks that I've ever had. So I'm glad that ships these days can handle all that. Greg's been on the Edge as well. They say it's bigger than the Summit and the Millennium classes, but it's still not a big ship in the scheme of things. I'd be curious to see how the gross tonnage lines up to Freedom of the Seas. That's kind of what I verify everything with. So I'll have to look that up afterwards. I think Adam was telling me earlier that the Edge class is smaller than Freedom of the Seas. I don't know if it's more of a Voyager class like Liberty of the Seas. But yeah, I need to Google that. Thank you. This is from Virgin Voyages Sailing. So I actually did get this on the ships. They've changed vendors, but I got this on their old vendor. For those of you that have not gone on Virgin Voyages, you oftentimes can get really good money to go on Virgin. So they may charge you a premium to go on there. And it is a premium cruise line. It's a premium experience. But what you're going to find is they're going to give you bar tab. They're going to give you sailor loot. Bar tab can only be used at the bar, so that you can buy your drinks with since they don't have drink packages. The sailor loot, on the other hand, is you can use it in any of the stores. You can use it for spas. And they gave me, I forget how much they gave me, but I was able to go shopping. And one of the things that I bought was this little shirt that they had it on display. And as soon as I saw it, it was just one of those that I was like, yep, we're getting that shirt. And that's what we're doing. Edge is around 130 gross tons there. Thank you for that. Beyond is coming in at 140 gross tons. So they're not small. They're bigger than the Magnifica, which was 95,000 this past weekend. I have been on Seaside. I've not been on Seascape just yet. I think that's right anyway. I did do one of the sea classes, and I think they're going to be similar. I've got the next one coming up on June 14th, and I'm going to be on the Seashore. 21st, that is, June 21st. So more content coming out about the sea class itself. I'm considering this in July. Well, if you're considering a July sailing, it can be warm. Like I see people asking these questions all the time, so let's talk about it. This past weekend, for instance, it was 105 to 110 heat index is where we were sitting at. On the cruise ships, if there was not good ventilation or air coming through, and on the Magnifica, there really wasn't by the pool. It was a little stale even when the ship was moving. It was hot. It was warm. And so if you're going to a private island, you're going to be laying out. It's something to keep in mind. I don't know that it would prevent me from going, as for the most part, you're going to have a good breeze. The places that you're going to go are pretty breezy. If not, sometimes they're way too breezy. If the breeze is not there, it's going to be a tough sell. Drink a lot of water, go into the pool often. Even the non-heated pools will probably feel fairly heated if it is warm, but you're still going to have a good time. But if nothing else, stay on the ship and enjoy. You don't have to go outside and play in 105, 110 heat index or around 40 Celsius. Let me convert it for the Aussie that's on here. It's about 40 degrees outside, which is insane. Edge is a little bit bigger than the Solstice, not by much. I just need to get over there. I think that's the lesson from this conversation. I just need to go on an Edge class ship. Rebecca, you can send me an email at brandon@theweekendcruiser.com. I'll throw that into the chat. If you want to email me, that's certainly one way to get in touch with myself. You can also always comment on any of these videos. I respond to every comment so far, which still amazes me that I've been able to do that. But it's one of the things that I love about having this platform is I get to respond to your comments. I get to see what you're talking about, and we get to have a conversation. So if you forget the email address, you can always just comment on a video and say, Brandon, hey, email me or something like that, or just leave the question there. I'll get to it. These days, I'm all caught up. I think there's like 3 or 4 that I've not responded to. Sometimes it'll take me like a week to get to them, but then I'll do a whole week's worth in one sitting. So that's another way. Or the Facebook group. You can always message there too. This is probably one of the more controversial decisions that Celebrity and other cruise lines have made with the Infinite Veranda. Icon of the Seas also has these as well. I have not had one, so I'm really hesitant to give my thoughts on this because I've not experienced it. And so I try to stay in my lane with these things. If you've had a infinity balcony, let us know in the comments. What did you think? Did you feel like your room was smaller? Did you feel like it was expanded? Did you miss out on not having a true balcony? And you had the little glass that you could raise or close. I'll be curious to see what people have seen there. I would agree with you. I'm torn on whether I would like it or not. I would give it a try just to see. one and done potentially, but I mean, I wouldn't have a bad experience. It's still a balcony. You still get the outdoor air. You still get that. The room is supposed to be bigger. So on the surface, it sounds good. But then you think of it and it's kind of a novelty, right? Like how often are you really going to be changing the windows and doing all those kind of things? Curious to see what other people think. Best food and best entertainment for the last 3 that I've been on. So over the last 3 weekends, I went on the Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas. I went on the Celebrity Reflection, and I went on the MSC Magnifica. So for food, hands down is going to go to Celebrity Cruise Lines. The Reflection and Celebrity traditionally will always have better food than Royal Caribbean or than MSC. And, as much as I love MSC, nobody's really writing home about their food. Though on this past sailing, they did have a poke bowl appetizer in the main dining room, which was fantastic. So MSC is not winning any awards for its food. Royal Caribbean is a step up. They might get honorable mention, and then you're going to have Celebrity Cruise Line coming in for the absolute hands down easy win to talk about here. When you talk about entertainment, you're not really considering apples to apples in this conversation because the ship sizes are so different. The larger the ship, the more potential it has to give you a wow factor on the show. If I look at Symphony of the Seas, which is coming in at around 225,000 gross tons, it's huge. They had the Aqua Show. They have Mamma Mia. No, not Mamma Mia. They have Hairspray. Forgive me on that. Mamma Mia's on the Allure. You have Hairspray. You're going to have jazz musicians. You're going to have headliners. You're going to have all these different things. You're going to have comedians. They can do so much more on those large ships at such a broader scale. You've got the ice show. Let me not forget it. So Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas, the large ships for Royal are going to offer a tremendously larger and more well done experience when it comes to entertainment. If you are looking then to the normal singers and dancers, so when you get into the smaller ships, such as the Reflections, I think we said it's coming in at 125. You've got the Magnifica coming in at 95,000. Their shows are going to look and feel a little bit more like your traditional singer and dancer shows that you may be accustomed to. I would say that the MSC Magnifica ship has really good production shows. They do one every night. So if it's a weekend cruise, you get a production show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're not bringing in a headliner unless it is a comedian, something like that. And their shows, they've redone them. They feel modern. They've got this beautiful, massive LED screen in the background. And they do something that frightens me in 2 of their shows. They use pyrotechnics on a cruise ship. They have the little spark things that come flying up. And they shoot out ribbons, and it's really, really well done. I like their shows. They're high energy. They're shorter. So their shows are going to run you about 30 minutes. You're going to have the cruise directors can talk for 10 to 15 minutes. The show's going to be 30 minutes, and then you're out of there in 45. But they give you such a jam-packed bang for your buck in those 30 minutes. Like you leave going, wow, that was a really good show. And you get to go enjoy the ship the rest of the time. Looking over at Reflection, the shows there were okay. They weren't anything over the top. They didn't feel as dated as some of the older Royal Caribbean shows do. But the thing that I'm going to ding them for is they were just sleepy to me. They weren't upbeat. They were slower songs. And I was a little on the tired side to start with, and so I was barely keeping awake for it. So that would be kind of the order. If you want like the big production shows, you're going to an Oasis class ship like Symphony of the Seas. You want like just a really well done production show, MSC, and then you're going to be able to fit in smaller royal ships and Celebrity in there as well. Hello, Mr. Lewis. We got to get you back on a group cruise. I know there's some people in this chat that miss you. Celebrity, I mean, I hope they will backtrack on the increase of the single supplement. The problem is the ships are filling up. As long as the cruise ships are sailing at max capacity, you're not going to see them back off on that because we cost them money. When a solo cruiser goes on a cruise, we do not generate enough revenue for them as somebody that's going to have 2 or 3 people or more in that cabin. And so it behooves them to either charge us more or to just not have us on the ship in the first place. And so as much as I would love for them to get rid of it, because I'm paying the price right along with you all, I don't see that happening if the ships continue to sell out. If there is a slowdown in the economy, if for some reason something comes up where people don't feel comfortable cruising anymore, and we see those bookings back out, or maybe with all the really large ships coming over here to Florida, there's just so much supply, they're not filling it up anymore. That's when we might see this happen. But right now, if those prices keep going up and they keep booking them, we're probably not going to see that go away. I wish we could, though, but I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately. Yonik, that is one of the most over the top experiences, being in the Royal Suite on Royal Caribbean by yourself. Like, it is just such an over the top experience. I've done the Crown Loft Suite by myself. I've done a Grand Suite by myself, but this one just absolutely took the cake on. I mean, I didn't really even leave the room that often because it was just all eyes were on me, all attention was on me, and it was just me in the room. Like, I don't know, it was the weirdest thing, but it was an amazing time. I'm very fortunate I was able to have some good friends of mine come on board to keep me company, to take up some of that space, because I've learned that I don't want too large of a room. I don't want too large of a house, because eventually I feel like it's more cavernous, it's too big. I wanted to feel a little bit smaller, a little bit more cozy and homey. And this room for just me was not cozy and homey. It was expansive. Would I stay there again? Absolutely, hands down. Please invite me if you're staying in the Royal Suite. I will gladly see you there. But we'll see if one of my next cruise certificates, I think I'm at 1,600 points now with Royal. Let me see. 1581. So I've got a ways to go until my next one. I think the next one is at 1750. Yeah, so I got a little bit of ways to go on the points before I get another one of these. But you never know. I might be back. The scooter that can fit in the back. I remember that. I looked at that. And I still I see scooters all around Miami, and I keep going, I want to get a scooter. So one thing that I've learned, Sparky Girl, in this is not all cruise lines will allow you to take a scooter on board. That battery pack that they have causes a lot of angst for some of the cruise lines, and so they've banned those. Royal Caribbean has not banned those, to my understanding. But even if you stop outside, throw it in a bag, I don't know that the security officers would recognize it or even know that it was a banned item. They might. It might work. I need to look around a little bit more and see what I can get away with the scooter. I want it to be lightweight. I want it to be compact, something that can fold up like this one does. And if it goes into a bag, that's even better. I don't know that I mind pulling it. I got to think through that. My biggest issue that comes in with taking a scooter, and I would love to stop taking Ubers and just take a scooter over to the cruise port, is getting my luggage over there. So I don't necessarily want to be going down the street with my luggage, being wheeled behind me holding it while trying to drive a scooter. I'm probably already going to be dangerous enough on this scooter without pulling luggage. I've thought about getting one of the really large backpacks, like a hiking backpack, if you will. But even that, I go, I'm going to have so much stuff in there, especially by the time I get all this technology, my laptop, it's going to be heavy. So as much as I want a scooter, I don't know that it's feasible or a smart idea for me to do that. I might just wind up getting me one for Miami, just to go to South Beach, go to Brickell, to Midtown, to be able to see more around where I live versus taking it over to the cruise terminal, unless I know that I'm packing really light for one of these. I just don't want to fall over and hurt myself and miss a cruise. Like, worst case scenario, right? Adam has had the infinite balcony. Me and my pronunciations. I'm glad you all find it endearing in the comment section most of the time when I say things wrong. I try really hard. He enjoyed his balcony. Karen doesn't think she's going to like her infinite balcony. But going outside, but then coming back into the air conditioning. That's something that I thought of too. If you have it open, the entire room loses the air conditioning. Like on weekends like we just had where it's 105, 110, that's going to make the entire ship hot too. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But I wouldn't want to come back in after sitting outside for an hour and not have air conditioning. I think that'd be problematic. Not a bad price. Drink package. You're also probably going to have basic Wi-Fi. If you got that while you were booking at that package, you're also going to have basic Wi-Fi built into that as well. So I think that, for two people, for did you say this is a balcony? What kind of room is this, John? It's probably going to be a balcony at that price point. I think that's a really good sale. And the drink packages are well priced on MSC. If you are somebody who has to have the drink package, MSC is the most affordable option where you're going to be able to do that. But I will be getting on. Wait, you're on the seashore the 16th through the 21st or through the 20th? Oh, yeah, no, it's through the 20th. You're right. I forget that they do it on Thursdays. I will be getting on when you are getting off on the 20th. So maybe I'll see you in the port, but I probably won't be there until later, unfortunately. I'll use all that air conditioning. This might be a deal breaker for me on the infinite balcony. I think that I might not enjoy that experience. Am I done sailing on Virgin? I hope not. I was actually trying to get, so they are the only cruise line. I don't get many perks from having this channel. One of the perks so far has been that Virgin Voyages has, sponsored me to go on a couple of their sailings, and I've had an amazing time on Virgin Voyages. They don't have true weekend sailings. So I'm kind of limited on I can pull off a long weekend with them. They've got some sailings that I can make sense on, but my options, I'm limited really 5 times per year. And unfortunately, they've been doing a pretty good job these days on selling out their cabins, and their social media team doesn't have the ability to give them to little old me. I also imagine that I'm pretty far down on their stack ranking when it comes to social media people, as much as I enjoy them and I love making content about them. But I tried going this next weekend, which is one reason why I'm not on a ship next weekend is I saved it for Virgin and we weren't able to make that happen. My next opportunity, and I've already told the social team this, so hi social team, if you're watching, that I want to go on the October sailing for Columbus Day weekend. So hopefully we'll be able to make that work, but I won't know until much closer to that date. They have solo cabins. Look at that on the Infinite Verandas on the Ascent. That is good to know. Good to know that it didn't get too terribly uncomfortable as well there, Cheryl. Ooh, what are my must-haves for cruising? Actually, let me just grab my bag over here. This is the bag that goes with me on every single cruise ship. So here's my bag. It's huge. It's probably larger than what I actually need. But the things that go with me, first of all, travel bank. The reason that I take this started because of Coco K. Especially, somebody asked about going in the summer. One thing that you don't realize until you're sitting out in the heat all day, and if you're like me, you're solo and you're probably playing on your phone a lot, it's going to drain the battery and you're not going to make it the entire day. So I take a travel bank out there with me, keep it in the shade, don't want it exploding. But that is certainly one item you're going to want to have with you. My other one, you've heard me talk about this, my 10-foot charging cord. This one's from Anchor. A lot of my stuff is from Anchor. I like the brand when it comes to, can't get it out of the light. But I bought a red one finally. I've lost so many of these on a cruise ship. It is not even funny how many of these I have just left. So I brought this bright red one in hopes that I won't do that. I also carry with me a power bank, or not power bank. This is a travel adapter. The reason I like it, boop, the prongs will fold in so that I'm not bending these. It's also a little bit more intense than what most people need, but it is a 65-watt charger with fast charging, 2 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A. And the reason I like this is it will charge and use my laptop. Not well, the laptop needs, I have a huge laptop. Next on my list of splurges that I'm ever going to do, if I can save up some money, will be to get a smaller laptop because I have a 17-inch screen. When I started this, I thought that I'd want to be able to see the screen big if I was editing videos. Now I've learned that I'm breaking my back lugging this thing everywhere, and it's not necessary. But this will also charge my laptop if I need it to. So that's what I keep in there. The other thing I do, and this is, see if I can find one. I'm just reaching into the back here. I keep European plugs. I take these with me. The reason that I do this is, number one, it would give me another option in the stateroom if I need it, because you all know that you've got 2 American and normally 1 or 2 European plugs. So I'll keep one of these with me. Or if I'm just around the ship somewhere, oftentimes you'll find that on cruise ships in the common areas, they use the European plug versus using the American plug. Those are the main things. My other one is not in the bag. I've already taken it out. Is going to be my Kindle. That is one that I always travel with, and my Manta sleep mask, especially if I am not in an interior cabin. If the sun starts waking me up and I am not ready for that kind of experience just yet, I'll grab my Manta sleep mask, which I adore, and throw that on. I actually used it earlier for a little bit of a nap before I jumped on here. The Amazon page is not linked, but there is an Amazon link in most of the videos. So if you go there, you can find all these super easy. It is an affiliate link, so I'll get pennies on what you buy there, but hey, every little bit counts. The other thing, this is not listed there, sunglasses. Make sure you take sunglasses and you take sunscreen, sun protection. You will find the sunscreen on the Amazon site, and you're going to find the SPF shirts. I am a huge fan of traveling with SPF shirts. Whether you're walking around Nassau, you're walking in a port, you're going to the island, if you're solo like me and you just don't want to worry with asking somebody to suntan lotion your back that you don't know, I'll just wear my shirt all day. I mean, it's not a vanity thing. It's not one where I'm not comfortable wearing it. I just don't want to get sun cancer or melanoma, I guess is the term for it. So I'll wear it and we're good to go. I do prefer the ones that come over the thumbs a little bit, that have the little hole, because there was one time that I wore the sleeve one and I burned the upper part of my hand. That was an interesting tan line. I think those are my big ones that I would say that I take with me. And it's a smaller list than other people have, but those are kind of the essentials there. Celebrity Summit did have good entertainment. I think they had better than Reflection, honestly, Jen. For whatever reason, the Reflection just didn't wow me as much as it did there. I have not seen Dr. DC. I've not seen a Disney show since, when was I there? 2016, I think. So I don't even know that my mind remembers it, but I would not be surprised if their ships did not have amazing stages to them where they could do all sorts of really cool stuff up there. As we all know, Disney is a production company, so I think that they really would invest in making that a good experience. The Horizon View, is that the same thing as the Infinite? I think that's probably just what another company calls it. And really liked it. Good to know. Drew. Ooh, how many of these blend together? At this point, what does it take to make it memorable? So I go on a lot of cruises. I have been on, what's the current number? I think this is up to date, like 145. I've done 145 cruises. Most of them 3 and 4 night cruises, and 606 nights at sea, which is insane that I have crossed 600 nights at sea. That is coming up on over 2 years that I've spent of my life on a cruise ship. No, not 2 years, because that would be a higher number. So a year and a half that I've spent on a cruise ship. What makes a cruise memorable? Number one, if it's going to really unique ports. I'm trying to do, when I do longer trips these days, which is one reason why I'm doing more weekends, I'm saving my vacation time so I can see more of the world. So at the end of the year, I like to do a long sailing. So I've done Asia, I've done South America, I've done the Baltic, I've done the Persian Gulf, all these really, really cool places. Those are memorable to me. The Caribbean itself, I think, is kind of blurred together a little bit for me. All the islands start to look the same. What makes them unique are going to be the friends that I have on board and the friends that I make on board. It's those conversations that allow me to differentiate this weekend from that weekend. And I still probably, just because my memory is not as strong as I would like for it to be, can go back and be like, oh yeah, we met completely on this, third sailing in January. I'm not going to be able to do that, but it's certainly the people that I meet that make these cruises memorable for me these days. Hands down, that's what it comes down to. And most of the time, it's you all saying hello, and we just keep on chatting. We keep running into each other, and before you know it, I've got a new face-to-face friend. Not just, I say this with love, virtual friends. So I love meeting people in person from the channel because, Drew, as much as I can see your name here, and I'm going to recognize this name if you comment or leave something else, like I start remembering who's commenting what. It's very different when you meet somebody in person. And now not only can I see your screen name or your name, I also now have a face and a real person that I've interacted with that I can connect it to. And that helps me remember even better. That's what I love the most. Hope that answered the question there. A lot of them, they blur together. They absolutely blur together. If it was their first sailing in the U.S., give them another try. They have certainly redone those. I could post a couple of clips to it, but they are, I think, really, really good, high energy. They switched out the female singers while I was there. So I don't know if you all experienced this or not, but like I saw the cast do it before for 3 or 4 different shows. So I learned the way that they did it, and then they swapped out 2 of the girls because I imagine they went home, they went on vacation. We had 2 female singers. They're girl 1, girl 2 were new, and it was different. They were fabulous as they always are, but I still had to be like, okay, just because they're doing it differently doesn't mean they're not good. You're just expecting it to be what it was before. So I've got to keep it in perspective for me. Thanks, Yannick. Hey, Ted. Not seen your name in a little while. Welcome. At least I don't think you were on last week either. I was thinking when you go to port with it. This is the bad side about me reading comments after I've talked about something. Oh, go to, yes, you're talking about the scooter. I'm worried about going to the port with the scooter because then I'm going to have my luggage and all that stuff with me. So I see what you're saying there, but you could totally take one off the ship. If you got to Nassau and you wanted to take one, you could do that. Interestingly, Nassau actually has scooters you can rent. I do not advise that. Even on the Magnifica, they came on and said, like the cruise director standing in front of all of us was like, hey, you're going to get to Nassau. They're going to try to rent you ATVs. They're going to try to sell you weed. They're going to try to do all this other stuff. Don't do any of that stuff. It is risky. Nobody knows how they're maintained. I would say that's probably true for their scooters too. But some islands do that. Nick, if I did it, I would have to wear a hat. I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat. My hair, I don't think is going to appreciate a hat very much because if I squish this, it's not going to like it. So I'll have to go back to the room and check it out. But if I get to stay alive while I'm riding a scooter, maybe that's a fair trade-off. So I've looked at the Airwheel scooter, that's the luggage, and they're surprisingly not rated for outdoor use. They are made specifically for an airport where you have that marble smooth floor. If I was to put it on asphalt or concrete, the way that it has all the rivets in it, it would probably tear the wheels apart pretty quickly. But I have looked at that one. I've looked at too many of them and just haven't got myself to do it. Hey, Jaden, welcome. It's a Royal Caribbean fan. I love it. I'm a Royal Caribbean fan too. Smash the like button. Yes, Robert, thank you. I keep forgetting to mention this. Let's see how many people we got that have done that so far. Do I still have it open on my screen? I do. Oh, I'm still at 1, so it looks like my screen's just not refreshed. But definitely press that like button if you don't mind. That'd be a huge thank you. And thank you, Robert, for reminding me. Hello, Vegas. We got a few people in Vegas. I like it. Hey there, Scott. Adamus, good question on why the weekend. I would love to do longer. I mean, that's the reality to it. I would love to go on longer cruise ships or cruise sailings, but I have a full-time job. So I do work during the day. That is what affords, we'll call it this hobby of going on cruises every weekend. And so with that, I do need to be in the office. I do need to be present, but they don't care where I'm at on the weekends. Saturday and Sunday, I can be wherever I want to be, as long as I can be back at work on Monday. So with that, the weekends is the best place that I can go. So I tell people I'm limited by 2 things when it comes to cruises. Number 1 is vacation time. Number 2 is going to be money. So this is one way that I can solve for the vacation time because I don't need to use vacation time when I go on a cruise ship because I'm boarding very late. This is one of the reasons I'm the last one to board on Friday afternoons. And I'm normally one of the first ones off on Monday morning. This Monday, I think I was home at like 7:45 in the morning. It also helps that I am a 4-minute Uber ride away from the cruise port. But that's really the reason. If one day, I mean, this is me, daydreaming a little bit here. If I could ever go full time with YouTube and this really took off, I might be able to go on longer cruises and I might have to rebrand the channel from something other than the Weekend Cruiser. But right now, weekends is where it's at, and that's probably going to be for the next foreseeable future. Oh yeah, it will match. So if you're getting a CPAP machine, you're going to have that big old orange cord that they bring to your room, so that you don't trip over it, steal it, and it's got enough. I shouldn't even call it a surge protector. It's more of an outlet extension, but it's ranked where it won't catch on fire when you plug things into it. You want to? I am hoping that the red is going to save my life on this one. It came in. It was only one that came in this pack, and I don't know if that's the one that's linked. But if you search for Anchor charging cables, you'll find it. Oh, that's a good one, Dino. It's just a small solar-powered one to keep your phone charged while you may be in the water or not using it. That's a really cool idea. I hadn't thought about that. Yes, so West Coast Cultured. My Google Fi does work. Send me an email at brandon@theweekendcruiser.com, and I'll send you the referral link for that so that you get $20 off your first bill. Or I think I have a video where I talked about how I stay connected at sea. Interestingly enough, I do have scripted, and maybe this weekend I'll get to it, a video where I want to talk about my experience with Google Fi and how much I have really enjoyed being able to use Google Fi. I think that it is a solid product. It has saved me a couple of different times. Actually, I can pull that referral up pretty quickly. Here we go. So I'm going to throw this into the comments. This is the Google Fi link. And it'll give you $20 off your first bill. But it does work in all of the ports. When I initially got it, gosh, how long have I had it now? 3 or 4 years? It had a love-hate relationship with the Bahamas. It would not work all the time. These days, it works flawlessly. And that's the one thing that I love about Google Fi, which I use here, is whatever country I've gone to, and I've been to 60-some countries at this point, it literally works within 30 or 45 seconds of me landing in that country. It is fantastic. It is international data. It's international text messages. Phone calls are at a reasonable price. They are pennies per minute. So even if I accidentally make a phone call, which I have done, I've gotten bills from T-Mobile, who I was with before, for $300 and $500 because I forgot to go into airplane mode and it switched off of the Wi-Fi calling assist and it went onto the cellular network, and they billed me for it, for every bit of it. And so that was kind of the final straw that said, I got to get away from this company because it's raking me over the coals. Google Fi will not do that because even if I do make a phone call, their prices per minute are just so much cheaper that it's not going to kill me. But yes, it absolutely works in Ocean K, as well as it's going to work in NCL's Harvest K, and it'll work at Coco K. So you've got plenty of places that it's going to work. At Ocean Key, they do have the cell tower on the island. So depending on where you are, you might not get great cell reception if you're on the other side of the ship. That is going to be the same for Coco K. So if you're there, the tower is on NCL's island. So if you are on that side of the ship, you're going to get better reception. Interior cabins, you are not going to get reception, but that's the same in Port Miami. You're not going to get cell reception there either. But if you simply just walk outside of your room into the hallway or even open the door, it will work for you. But I could not recommend them more for many more reasons, but I'll put all that in the video. Another vouch for the European. You just never know when you're going to need it. And I like to have a few things that I'm prepared. The other thing, and I don't know if I've linked this, I bought finally a medicine case. Like I remember seeing all the moms basically who do YouTube talking about their medicine bags and cases. I finally found just a really neat like clasp one that opens and it's got different compartments. And so I've got 8 or 9 just in case medicines in there, which has been great. And it doesn't take too much room to store that. I've really enjoyed that as well. Just to mention one more thing. Yannick, that's just the beginning. Hopefully I'll get on a lot more than that. We should do a big party when I hit 200. That'll be in a few years. That's not going to happen overnight. That'll be in a few years, but we'll have to have us a party. Group cruise. By the way, if you want to do the group cruise, link below. Check it out for the newsletter. Make sure you sign up. That'll give you the information. But just for those people that have joined us after the fact, the group cruise that we have coming up is on September 26th of this year, and it's going to be on Independence of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. So it's out of Canaveral. Make sure that you're using the link on the website as well, or through the group cruise newsletter to say that you're interested in going, and we'll get the travel agent to reach out and get you these group rates. They're going to be expiring in the next few weeks. So if you want the group rate, which is probably cheaper than the actual rate these days, I have to imagine, act sooner rather than later, if you would, for me. Just because I want you to go and not have to spend a lot of money if you don't have to. All right, let me switch back screens. It is true. You can always keep up with people on the cruise ship. So that is certainly one thing that you can do with having a phone. It's one reason why I like to have connectivity, because I'll go through and message people that I've not messaged in a little bit. I'll catch up with some people if I'm by myself. The video that I have in editing right now actually is what I do differently when I cruise solo versus when I'm with others. And so I made like a top 10 list of what does Brandon do differently when he is by himself versus when I am with a group or with just somebody else. That was a video that somebody mentioned in the comments, and I was like, that's a really good idea. And that one I had scripted in like 5 seconds. So that one will be coming out very soon, because they are two totally different styles of cruising. I did, Julie. So I did a full, make sure you watch the video on what do I call it? A celebrity weekend. That was the review. It was fantastic. I could not say enough good things about the Celebrity Reflection and her doing weekends. There weren't that many kids. Coco K didn't have that many kids because you had one of the ships didn't bring kids. The food, fantastic. The shows, pretty good. The ship, great size, plenty to do. I had a really, really good time. So if I was saying who's my favorite weekend sailing right now, I would say it's going to be Celebrity Cruise Lines. Has the best weekend product that is being offered. That's probably not counting Allure. Allure might give it a little bit of a run for its money, but down here in the southern part of the state, I would say the Reflection Celebrity is going to be doing a really good job. And it's interesting. I did Symphony of the Seas 2 weekends ago because she was doing a repositioning before she goes up to Bayonne, where her new home is going to be in the New York market. And I was like, you know what? I can get used to this. The more that I'm going on the big ships for short cruises, I don't think they're made for those. And I didn't think that I would like it, but I'm really getting used to Coastal Kitchen. Let me specifically call that out. I'm certainly not going to go and see a production show every time that I'm on the ship. I'm not going to see an hour and a half to 2 hour show while I'm there. I do like seeing the shorter shows. Those I can go to consistently. But I'm not going to be seeing Mamma Mia every single time I go on this ship. That just seems miserable to me to sit through it the entire. I'll go several times, but I'm not going to go every single weekend to see it. But by having the Coastal Kitchen, by having the elevated food, by having Central Park that I can get away from people, I might actually find myself becoming a big ship person. And I didn't think that I was going to say that, but I really enjoyed my last cruise on Symphony of the Seas. I had a really good time by myself, met some amazing people. So more to come on that when Laura comes down here to Miami. I've got several sailings booked on her as well. The Boardwalk Balconies when I booked were not that terribly expensive, so I booked a couple of them. So more to come. Do I make a living weekend cruising? No. No, I do not. I am in the red. This channel helps. And I say that it helps. This is an interesting little thought on, do I make money on the YouTube channel? So the first thing that I'll say is I love having the YouTube channel. I never want it to feel like work. And it doesn't. Like, I honestly feel like I'm just coming here and hanging out with my best friends, hanging out with people that I like and we have something in common with. But it also encourages me to go on more cruises. So in some cases, I'm like, do I really need to go on a cruise every weekend? I don't think that I ever started wanting to do that. But because of the channel, because of wanting to give more content, be more relevant, I said, you know what? Let me book more cruises so that I can get out there and share more. And so I find myself cruising more, which costs more money. I try to do myself some favors and save where I can, aka MSC. But it's a costly habit to have. I will say that YouTube does pay a little bit on the videos. It's nothing over the top. So for every, like 1,000 people that watch the videos, I'm going to get somewhere between $8 and $10. Sometimes it's as high as $13. So it's not a ton. And that's for every 1,000 views. So the good news, it's enough at this point that I can pay for the video editing, which has been amazing. So I maxed out my ability to do video editing. I'm not an editor. I'm not a creative person. Me and Jen were talking about this earlier. I don't know how to make good videos. I know how to talk and educate and make quality content, but I don't know how to dress it up and make it pretty. That's not my strong suit. And what I found was that I was spending a lot of time in my cabin on these cruise ships editing videos, figuring out how to edit videos and try to make them better. And I was missing out on the cruises. And I'm like, well, gosh, why am I coming on a cruise ship if I'm just sitting in the cabin the entire time working on YouTube? And so luckily the channel has grown enough that I do have the ability now to outsource the video editing, which has saved me tons of times. And you all probably saw a jump in the quality when they started taking over. So I'm very fortunate that I can do that the channel at least pays for that so that I can enjoy my cruises. But I'd love for it to do a little bit more, but small steps. We're getting there. I mean, I never would have thought that this channel would be at over 18,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed, by the way, just check that out. I think most people on here probably are, but if you're not, would love a subscribe. I don't ask for subscribes normally. That's just not something that I do. If it's good content, if you want to keep watching it, would love to have you as a subscriber. But most of my videos, you notice, I don't do that. So I probably had a little bit smaller growth than I think what others may have seen. I also don't do explosive headlines on worst cruise ever or something dramatic that's happened because I'm not that person. So I've had a little bit slower growth in the channel, which I think is good. It's organic. It's people that I'm really enjoying and that hopefully are really enjoying the content that we're putting out there. Hey, Royal Caribbean fan, welcome to the channel. Hey, Gary. Overall thoughts on loyal to Royal Cruises trying MSC for the first time out of Miami. I would recommend it. One thing that I would say that I beat myself up on this, Gary, is I wish that I would have tried different cruise lines sooner because you don't know what you're missing until you do it. Whether you go over there and validate that, hey, Royal Caribbean's where I want to be, like that was not a good experience, or you go over there and go, gosh, this is different. I can appreciate that and really enjoy it as well. And by the way, I'm doing it for half the price of what that Royal Caribbean ship cost. That's really what got me over there. But I have enjoyed it. What I'll say, I don't know what kind of cabin you traditionally get, Gary, but if you're looking at getting suites, there are people that absolutely swear by the yacht class on MSC. So if you are doing suites on Royal Caribbean, for a fraction of that, you can get an amazing experience on a lot of yacht class ships with MSC. Not all of their ships have them. You need a bigger one, like a C class, to get that. But those people absolutely swear by. So price check it out and see what you can do. They even have yacht class interior cabins. Just a random little fact. But I would say give it a try. The worst thing that you're going to have there is going to be the food, and it is not bad. They have a bad reputation for their food, but it doesn't mean the food is bad. It is fine. It is absolutely fine. If nothing else, like I said earlier, love the poke bowl they had. The food from this last voyage was good. Not as good as Royal, definitely not as good as Celebrity, but for 50% of the fare, I'm okay with that. Like that's the trade-off I can make because their shows are better. I like the ship, and the itineraries are fantastic as it goes to Key West, and it'll do some overnights in Ocean Key, their private island. So it's all balancing out what's important to you. It is very true. It is very, very true, Robert. That life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the places and moments that take our breath away. Very true. Spiker Girl, thank you. You have a few scooters? I'm curious now. Why a few scooters? I was thinking, I mean, they're not cheap by any stretch. The ones that I think that I have been looking at, including the one that you sent over, was 300 to 1,000 maybe? Oh, Yannick, we're making it there. 41 likes. Thank you all for those that have pressed the thumbs up button on either YouTube or on Facebook. I have a tendency to forget about Facebook people out there. Hi, Facebook people. Sorry about that. Went on Virgin back to back, thanks to your wonderful review. Just got off Seascape. Two totally different cruise ships, right, Ben? So I'd be curious to hear, what were the pros and cons that you thought of Virgin versus the Seascape? Two beautiful ships, by the way. But I know that they're going to be a lot different. And Yannick, I see the $10. Thank you for donating. Always a pleasure. And completely up to you all if you want to do that, but it is highly appreciated. I love bringing you quality content. And financially, it really helps to keep on doing that. If nothing else, I might be able to get that 4K camera for these live streams. Javaholic Jones, I do not work remote from cruise ships these days. I did during COVID era, when we started back up post-COVID, I did. And that's when my company was remote still. These days, I can't do it. I need to be in the office. And, I can do it, or I will do it, I should say. Whether I can do it or not might be a different question. Actually, let's not let's not talk about this. I would tell you, if you are thinking about working remote and you're looking at the best Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi on the ships has gotten better these days. Starlink has been a game changer. But if you go through a VPN, if you go through some kind of authentication process, their servers do not always like that. And so it might be really problematic to connect and have the speed that you're going to need because the systems just don't like it. The other thing I'll say is they still aren't flawless. So if you have a day at sea, for instance, your only connection to the outside world is going to be your satellite connection on the ship. Should that go down for some reason, and that has happened to me several times, not when I was working, luckily, when I was on vacation, but the Wi-Fi will go down when you're at sea. You have no way to tell people that you're not coming to a meeting, that you're not going to be there. You simply ghost all your coworkers, and there is no easier way to get fired than being a no-call, being a no-show. So if you were to do it, I would always recommend try to find a cruise that is port intensive, meaning you will have a backup strategy. You can get off and go to a hotel. You can go to a conference center. You can go to a work remote location. You can pull from a cell signal and use a hotspot from that port. You have other options other than just the ship Wi-Fi, because it is reliable until it's not. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to risk my job to be on a cruise like that. That's not a risk I'm willing to take. Ooh, we've got some good ones here, Yannick. There's a few videos. So you got the Blue Lagoon. So do an excursion over there. You're going to have restaurants. So I've made, they're a little bit older, but there are a few videos on the channel. If you just go to my channel and search for Nassau, they'll pop up. But there's a few talking about the food restaurants and establishments that I like there. So I would definitely give that a try. You've got bao buns, which are super popular. You've got the fish fry, where there's several places that you can't go wrong. There's plenty to do. The walking tour is probably the most popular Nassau video. So it is a self-guided walking tour of what to see in Nassau. Check that out if it's your first time that you've been there. Those are going to be the highlights that you want to check out. Probably should redo that video. It's a few years old now, and I think my style's improved, so I might be able to do more with it. Do I get the soda package on Royal? So you're right, Nick. No, I don't drink alcohol, but I don't drink soda either, just because I don't like it. But what I do drink is coffee, espresso. I am at Cafe Promenade. I know them if I don't know anybody else on the ship, I know Cafe Promenade staff on a first name basis. So I still don't get the soda package, though. The reason for that is being a Pinnacle member on Royal Caribbean, you get 6 free drinks, complimentary drinks, every single day. This can be up to a value of $14. I think they've increased it now. And so I just go and use those for coffee. That's what I get for them. So I'm getting 2 to 3 coffees a day, depending on how well I sleep, how late I stay up. I'll have one after dinner just to kind of enjoy. That's kind of the way that I'll do that. But no, I don't get it. I did, and I haven't done this in ages, but I booked the World America, her third sailing when she comes out on May 3rd of next year. I did book with MSC. I found a solo ocean view room for $1,000 for a week-long cruise, so not bad at all. And with that, I did say, you know what? I'm probably going to want the Wi-Fi. It's a week-long cruise. And you know what? I'm going to want to not nickel and dime myself over their coffee. So they make fantastic coffee. And I've often just done the drip coffee. This cruise, I said, you know what? I want to be able to get espresso. So I did get their soda. I think I have the drink package, which probably includes alcohol, but we'll see. I probably won't be getting any of that. Actually, I know I won't be. But now that I think about it, maybe I shouldn't have gotten that package and I should have just bought the soda package. That might have been cheaper. It didn't seem like a bad price, so I paid it. I think it was only like $200 more with the Wi-Fi and the drinks for a full week. Okay, that seemed fine. Ben, great to hear that you enjoyed. And Ben, don't be giving out bad advice. So yes, a lot of people are going to stay in the ship, Yannick. A lot of people, like 50% of the ship, will stay on the ship, depending on what cruise line you go on. This is something that I've noticed, and I really should measure it more. If you go on a royal ship, 50% of the people are going to stay on there. Celebrity, probably 60 to 70% of the people are going to stay on there. If you go on another cruise line or a cruise that gets a lot of first-time cruisers, you're going to see a lot more people getting off the ship. If you have not experienced Nassau, make sure you know where you want to go. So you're asking the right questions to figure out what there is to do. Don't just walk off into the port and try to figure it out. I think that's the worst thing you can do in Nassau. Have you done a staying fit on a cruise video? No, I've not. The reason I have done gym videos, and I've got another gym video coming out. And you know what people don't want to see on a cruise ship YouTube channel? Gyms. They are hands down my worst performing videos that I make. I make them because I watch them, because I want to see what the gym has so that I can prepare what my exercises and what my routine is going to be there. But nobody else watches gyms. I think the only thing that saves those videos is nobody else does gym videos. I'm probably one of the few people that has ever captured a gym on the cruise ships. So do people want to watch how to stay healthy on a cruise? Maybe. I don't know that I'm always the right person for that. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know that I have the background. It's all about moderation. For me, I go a lot, right? I go just about every weekend. And so when I go on a cruise, I try to remind myself that, hey, Brandon, you're not on vacation this weekend. You're literally just on another cruise. And so I try to shift that mindset in my head. And I think that for those people that do go on vacation or allow themselves to slip into, hey, I'm on vacation, it's really easy just to let things go. Because you're on vacation, you want to treat yourself, you want to have a good time, and I totally get that. But it's not always, if you're trying to stick to something, there's certainly a lot of temptation around. And I don't know what the right answer is going to be. I mean, you hear people say, take the stairs, get the sugar-free desserts. Celebrity actually will have a little green leaf dot beside of some of their menu items to say that, hey, this is our healthy option. I will try to order those. So there's things that you can do on different cruise lines. But I don't think that's a video anybody's going to be interested in. I'm not sure that I got enough good advice to make a full video. Maybe a short I could do, but that's going to be about it. Thanks for Let Us All Cruise. That's important to me. When I started this channel, I wanted to be a little bit different. I wanted a different niche, if you will. So I was going to talk about cruises, but how am I going to do that differently? And to me, it was just being more matter of fact, less opinion-based content, more educational-based content. So I even did, the video's done really well, actually, a celebrity review, or a celebrity weekend, the review, where I reviewed my experience on celebrity, and it's done really well. I think you all probably want to see more reviews, and I honestly have not done those. That might be something that I look to shift, is how can I bring more review content, which I think you all are interested in my opinion of what I think of how did that sailing go. But I think that I can also bring those opinions without saying, you're going to enjoy this experience, you're not going to enjoy this experience. Because just because I didn't like it or because I love something doesn't mean you are. I think that I can give a review and still be more matter of fact about it. So I might see if I can do a little bit more of that. But thank you for that, Let's All Cruise. My pleasure, Ice Dog. I have heard that from several people, actually, that a lot of us, we're held back by just the unknown. Like, you don't know what to expect. And so that anxiety within us can flare up as we kind of process, what is a weekend going to be like on a cruise? What is a cruise going to be like in the first place? And by giving this educational content, so many people have been like, I knew exactly what to expect, Brandon. Thank you so much. Like, you helped with that anxiety to get me on this ship, or I am on this sailing because of your videos. And that means the world to me that, you all trust me enough to make those decisions. And it also keeps me in check. When I hear those stories, I go, oh gosh, like people really are taking to heart what I am saying. And so when I make videos, I want to make sure that they are quality videos and that it's as true to what I think the experience is that you can expect so that you'll know what that is. So I appreciate that, iStock. Thank you. Yeah, so thumbnails, I'm like the worst designer at thumbnails. I still do those myself. I've outsourced a few of them, but to your point, they just seem too much. Like I'm really bad about here's what I want to talk about in the thumbnail. I tell you in the title what I'm going to talk about. I tell you in the description what we're going to talk about, and then I get to the video and I talk about what I just told you 3 times I'm going to talk about. And that's really how I enjoy doing it. It doesn't leave a lot of mystery. It doesn't leave. I mean, sometimes I'll give it away in the title, like and then I just give you the background on it. So I'm trying to be a little bit better with kitschy titles or thumbnails that encourage people to click, because I still need people to click on the videos for them to be. It could be great quality, but if nobody clicks on them, there's a little bit of an issue going on there, and the algorithm's not going to pick it up. So I don't know that I'm going to get better at it. They're pretty plain Jane these days, but I do what I can for them. Perfect. MSC is legit. For those of you that are not considering MSC because you've heard bad things, listen to Ben here. They are a legit option for a fraction of the price. You can check them out. It's a good experience. I promise you're not going to hate it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can't promise you're not going to hate it. But if you go on there with the right attitude, you're not going to hate it. That much I can promise you. The food is definitely fine on MSC. The breakfast, but everything else was tasty. And the shows were amazing. They were on fire. Yes, I will agree with that. Their shows, I think that's been the biggest surprise for me leaving Royal Caribbean, is that Royal Caribbean shows are dated. Like, look, you all, for those of you that have been cruising for a while, some of those shows have been on board for 20 and 30 years. I am not making this up. And they still feel like they are 20 and 30 years old. They are dated. They're probably going to start changing those up with Nick Ware, their head of entertainment, is no longer there. He stepped down, when was this? Last week, I think. And I know a lot of people are going to miss him. I am not. I am ready for some fresh shows. I'm ready to change things up. I was not his biggest fan, and that's just my personal opinion. Like, there's a lot of people that loved him and loved his work, but I definitely feel like the shows on the smaller ships, it's not that they suffered, but they've never been updated. They've never been modernized. And so you go on there, and I didn't realize that this is where the point is until I went on to MSC and I went, oh, wow, like you've got this massive LED screen, you've got pyrotechnics, you've got all sorts of cool stuff going on here. And that's not happening on Royal Caribbean's Freedom and Under, which is still a good size of their fleet. The larger shows or larger ships, yes, has a ton to offer, but you kind of feel like the other ones were a little bit forgotten there. And I'm not sure that I was an Effectors fan. I have not seen it. I went on Wonder of the Seas third sailing before it actually Effectors was live. And I'm not sure that I'm really into that whole Marvel superhuman kind of thing. If you've seen Effectors, let me know in the comments what you think about Effectors. If that was a good show or kind of a bust, maybe it's just geared more towards children. And I'm not a kid anymore, so it didn't apply. But that's one of the things that I realized too, Ben, when I went on another sailing or went on a different cruise line. Becky, another person vouching for MSC. I love it. And I really do like it when you all jump in with your experiences, whether it's good or bad, of these cruise lines. Because don't take my word for it. I mean, I am one person. I am one experience. Granted, I've had multiple sailings to have that experiences on, or those experiences. But I love hearing from you all, whether it's, Brandon, this was not the case for me, or what have you. It gives people a well-rounded view of what they can expect and be prepared for. So I never mind if somebody has a contrarian view to what I'm saying. Yes, absolutely mention that in the comments. Let's talk about it, because I want people to see that there are other opinions other than just mine. Yep, VPN is the downfall of a lot of stuff that's out there. So, I mean, if you work in any kind of an industry where that's going to be required or there's sensitivity to it, it's going to be tough. Pros of Virgin versus MSC. Pros of Virgin is no kids. Every single bite of food was great, and the nightlife was amazing from the Jumba Party to Scarlet Night. Only cons would be the pools. The pools on Virgin are just sad. They are a party time. They are a great experience, but it's people standing by the pool, not actually using the pool. But I agree, the food over there is on point. Their food is fantastic. Ah, you should move, Ben. I'm going to do the May 3rd one as a non-group group cruise. So if you want to come on that, we're going to have a group cruise. If you can switch it around a little bit, that is one that I am announcing for 2025. So we're not going to use a travel agent for it. You're just going to, I'm going to come up with like some shirts and some tumblers, and we're going to give out free stuff. And we're going to have, unfortunately, a fee associated with that. So it'll be something small. Last week, you all told me somewhere between like the $20 and $40 range will probably be a good fit. But that way we can still get together. You can book it however you want to. If you want to go through a casino offer, want to use your own TA, I think that that'll be a really cool fit or be a neat concept. I don't see anybody else doing these kind of group cruises where book it however you want to. Just show up to the ship and then let us have a good time. So I'm interested to see how that plays out for us. Ooh, I have been up to Nova Scotia. I would say just make sure you book tours. That's the biggest thing. It is beautiful up there. There's so much that you can do. If you're doing a 4-day, it's going to be quick. But book some tours. If you're going to Halifax, you honestly can just hang out in the city. There's more to do there, but just hanging out in Halifax, I mean, it's a really beautiful city. I wish I had more that I could remember, but I've not been up there since 2017, 5 or so years ago. So if anybody wants to help Michelle out in the comments with some things to do in Nova Scotia, let's see it. So West Coast Culture, thank you for watching the gym videos, first of all. The second part, the spa videos, I've never figured out the proper way to do a spa video because I want to go in there with my camera and record, but I don't want to get people hanging out in the spa. I just feel like that'd be a violation of privacy on that. I need to go up there and just say, hey, what time do you guys close? Would you mind if I did a quick tour? I will say the MSC Magnifica is the smallest gym at sea, but it's got a really, really nice thermal spa. And you get one free session or 1 hour, I think, with Diamond in their membership. So if you can status match in, that might be a good solution. Royal Caribbean, I don't go to the thermal spas because you got to pay $30 to $40 for that fee, and that's just something I'm not willing to do. So you got to book the MSC one however you want to. So no travel agents, no groups involved in this. This is the non-group group cruise. So if you want to do the May 3rd sailing, check it out. I don't know if they have any solo rooms left at this point. So I had somebody price it out. Andrew priced it out 2 days ago, I think. It said that it had gone up in price a lot. But give it a shot. Go ahead and book it now because it's probably just going to go up. It is literally its 3rd sailing. So for not an inaugural sailing, but being that new of a ship, it's still going to be really reasonably priced. If you look at the Icon or any of the other kind of ships, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And it's 7 days with me. What's there not to love? I've never done a 7-day group cruise before or group events. I'm going to have to come up with what we're calling this. So that'll also be a lot of fun as we get to hang out for 7 days. You know, I walked the stairs today. I deserve this dessert. I think that is a very well said point there, Dino. Lots of people think that way. Hey, we sure did. Welcome back. Always glad to have you all. NASA. NASA? Hold on. I'm trying to think about what this means. Oh, NASA. Another, wait, no. I don't know what this means, Todd. Help me out a little bit. Mamma Mia will be staying for quite a period of time. They don't normally change the shows up too much. To my point earlier, they're 20 and 30 years old. So they're not changing them. There's actually a new cast training right now to join Allure. Actually, I think they just joined the ship last week, and they're going to be bringing her down to Miami. So I'll get to see the new cast once it comes down. Royal Caribbean fan, please let me know what you think of the Virtuoso, number one. But number two, I want to hear more about how you feel MSC's experience is in Europe. There's some people that believe that the American experience and the European experience could be different, that you're experiencing two different versions of MSC. So let me know what you think when you get back. I'd love to see that in one of the comments. Alex also thinks MSC is pretty good. Effectors. Pam, this is an interesting one. So there is a lot of lip syncing, but one thing a lot of people don't realize when you have these singers and production shows, they're timed, meaning everything moves and happens at the same time. The background vocals are oftentimes not the stage vocals, like they're doing the main singing, but there's sometimes a lot of lip syncing going on. Or if somebody's gotten sick and you've got one of the dancers who's pretending to be that person, it's also going to be lip synced. So it's not uncommon I think I see it more on royal ships that I feel like they pump in more vocals than what sometimes is being generated from the actual singers. Hey, Mimi. Thank you. Have you actually taken the trolley at this point, Mimi? The trolley, if you figure it out, is really easy and you know what terminal you're going to. I think that it's a solid bet for a lot of people, and it's free, especially if you're already in downtown. Though Ubers aren't that terribly expensive in Miami. I normally pay around $10 to go to the port and then all the way back. It'll surge to like 12 or 15 most of the time. But if you can save that, why not? It's getting you closer to going on another cruise. And thank you for watching that video. I'm a huge transit person. So I don't have a car. I love it. I take it often. So thank you. I wish, just to go back to you, Mimi, I hope that the Miami Trolley Authority or the city of Miami watches that video and finally expands the trolley route to Terminal A. I don't know why they haven't done that at this point. It would make a lot more sense and give a lot more access to people if it actually served all of the cruise terminals and not just the ones on the west side of the port. Yeah, if it's just a change in lifestyle of walking around, you're definitely going to see that there. Let's All Cruise. If they are Peloton group cruises, there might be. The problem with this is the only cruise line that has them is Celebrity. Oftentimes you'll see 3 to 5 of these on Celebrity ships, and normally 2 of them will be broken because they don't maintain them. But that's one reason why I like going on Celebrity is I can, clip in and have a good spin class and don't get out of my routine. I'm trying to be better with doing cardio and not just lifting all the time. So I love having my Peloton bikes. By the way, if you want to follow me on Peloton, there's a way to follow people, fellow riders. Cruise Ship Spinner, which is SPNR. Cruise Ship Spinner, one word. Yep, you're right. May 3rd is that third sailing. May 3rd, the third sailing. So I will be there for that. The inaugural is it the fourth sailing? I'll have to check on that. I thought it was third. It could be the fourth. Either way, I got a decent rate and said, sure, why not? And other people were able to book it, got a decent rate. And so before I knew it, I had people coming with me and I said, okay, let's make this a thing. If we're going to have a group, let's do it. Excellent. Thank you. I definitely am curious to hear that MSC experience. The whole cast lip syncs the entire time? Oh, that would, no. I didn't know that. I've actually never seen an episode of it, but hearing that, I have no desire to see it at this point. Perfect, Mimi. Give it a shot. I think that it'll be absolutely fine. You'll have a good experience. I think it'll be good to go there. Let's see. All right, my comments are a little delayed. So I'm at the bottom of the comments. We've been chatting now for an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to do a last call for questions or anything you all want to talk about, and we can do that. And hopefully, I'll be back next week. I should be back next week. I don't think I have anything planned. So hopefully, we'll make this a week-long thing like I've been promising, or weekly thing, because I do enjoy talking with you all. But if you have a question, this will be my last call for questions. We'll see if we get anybody through here. Otherwise, Yannick, enjoy your evening. Get some rest. What do I think of the Cats show on Royal Caribbean? I was having a conversation about that this week. I don't know who in their infinite wisdom said that Cats will appeal to a broad audience of people. Cats is classical. It's classic. It was on Broadway for decades. Everybody knows Cats, but Cats is polarizing. You either like it or you hate it. And it was really, really long. When they first put it on the ships, they put the entire production onto the show. They have since pulled it back. So it's on Oasis of the Seas now, I believe. But they've shortened it because just too many people are leaving. Too many people don't get it, don't understand it. The music is beautiful. The performers are awesome. The singers are talented. But it doesn't appeal to people. Not the way that Mamma Mia does. Not the way that Hairspray does. Some of those other production shows. Wizard of Oz, I also hear on Icon of the Seas, is fantastic. But those have very broad appeal. When I think of Cats, I don't know a lot of people that are like, oh, that's my absolute favorite show. I love Cats. I mean, I love singing Memories at karaoke, but it doesn't mean I want to go and sit through a performance of Cats. Just my take on it. I kind of wish that they would switch it out for something else. And I think most people, after they've watched it, want their time back. Me personally. You also got to keep in mind, this is going to sound really horrible, but I'm going to say it anyway because we're amongst friends, right? I shouldn't say most, some people, let's phrase it that way, that go on cruise ships, not really well cultured. They're not used to seeing Broadway performances to start with, let alone jumping the gun to something so classical and specific as Cats. Mamma Mia, we've all seen the movie. Wicked, we've seen the movie. Wizard of Oz, we've seen the movie. Like, even if you're not necessarily the most refined or sophisticated kind of person, you know what those are going to be about, and you're probably going to enjoy them. Cats, I don't think so. When is the best time of year for an Alaskan cruise? I've been wanting to go. The best time is whenever you can get up there. But what they will say is, try to go in early July. That's going to be the best time to go up there. Don't want to go too early or too late in the season. If you go too early or too late, it could still be snowing. It could still be really, really cold. And that's going to give you a different experience. However, the price point is also going to be significantly cheaper on the shoulder pieces of that peak. So the ideal opportunity is going to be in beginning of July, but the beginning and the ends are going to be where the dills are going to be found. Not so much always on the last cruise to come back, because there's a lot of people that will take the cruise from Alaska back down to the US, over to Hawaii, and out to Australia and New Zealand. It is, Adam. It is the last call for drinks. Last call for Q&A. Oh, late June to early August. You're right. I was wrong. It is not early July. It is, well, no, that was right then. So I said the middle. I said early July. So I think we're good to go there. I did not lie to you, Ben. I hope not, at least. But I don't think there's any wrong time to go. It just depends on, the clothing you're going to have to take to Alaska is going to be all over the place, because you got to pack for everything, regardless of when you go. I did not know that there was a Cats movie, and that is not going to be making my top 10 list. No. Just no. Why would you do that? It is a, 3.5 hour movie, I have to imagine. Is it the actual Broadway performance, like somebody set a camera up in the back to get the stage? Or is it an actual film that they've done? That would be a pretty cool birthday cruise, Ben, I must admit. That'd be a cool birthday cruise. Somebody's going to Alaska new. Is it Virgin or MSC? One of them, I want to say it might be MSC, is heading over to Alaska for a new competitor over there. That'd be a good testament of how the speeds is. I know on the Magnifica, their Wi-Fi speed is fantastic. So hopefully you're going to have the same on the Virtuosa. She's a little bit older of a ship, but hopefully it'll still work. Well, sounds like you're a little bit more cultured there, Greg, to like that. I can't say that I would see Cats multiple times. I don't know that I would ever see it again. If I was on Oasis of the Seas and it was playing, yeah, I might go in and watch half of it. But I'm not trying to watch the entire thing. Hey, Mr. Joe, welcome. Glad you made it. I did just do last call for questions. So if you got something you want to talk about, let's get it in and we'll chat through it. It's Virgin. I was wrong on that. I knew one of them was going. Virgin is going to be going over to Alaska. So you want to try something a little bit different, a different experience. Smaller ship might be a good way to go. Not going to use the pool in Alaska anyway. It's the only downside. It could be both. I'll research that and come back to you all on it. If MSC is going over there, I have to imagine MSC is expanding their presence on the West Coast and up there in Seattle. It's a good video of the actual Broadway show. Okay, so it makes more sense on that. Still not going to watch it, Joe. Sorry. You know, Aqua's 80 is amazing, and I will agree. It does make up a little bit for Cats by having probably the best aqua show on all of the seas. It is fantastic. I will absolutely agree with that. Hey there, Anthony. Let's see what you got. That's interesting. Where were you sailing out of, Anthony? I'm curious. What was the port that this sailed out of? They do not do that on the weekends. I mean, any cruise line is going to do it on day one because you can get a discounted package, and the bartenders love these because you got to pay automatic gratuities included in them. But I have passed the first few hours on MSC. I think the other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean is really bad for pushing the drink package on the first day. I've not seen that as bad on the 3 ships with MSC, and it could be because they were 3 nights. They figured everybody probably already had a drink package. You know, you're coming on a booze cruise, but I have not seen them pushing things. I will say that MSC, like other cruise lines, their spa people are very present, and they are always willing to sell you a spa package of some kind. They're standing outside at the spa. They're doing massages in random spots by the hot tubs. That I think is just industry-wide at this point. Icon of the Seas cruise, probably in 2029. That's probably about when the prices are going to be where I can afford them. Interesting that was out of Miami, Anthony, for that MSC. It could be that it's just a difference in the 7-night, but I did not feel that. Or maybe they just look at me and go, oh yeah, he's not talking to us. I don't know. But good to know on the different experience there. What do I do to make each trip boring and make each trip interesting and keep it from getting boring? Do I go to the itinerary, the ship, or a mix? It depends. So I'll start with the last part because that's easier to answer. Recently, I've been going a lot for the itinerary because they've been several weekend sailings that have been going to Key West. And Key West is my favorite port. Hands down, favorite port. Could go there every weekend and have a blast. So that I've been doing. And I've been really enjoying Ocean Key with MSC. It's closed currently for renovations, though it's opening back up, I think, in a week or two. But I've really enjoyed going on over to their island. And if I'm going to Key West and to Ocean Key, like that's a no-brainer for me. For half the price, like, okay. Otherwise, if I'm doing a long sailing these days, it's traditionally going to be so that I can go somewhere exotic that I've never been before. Exception to that is going to be for World America, mainly because I'm really interested to see what World America looks like, how MSC is going to continue making a play into the Americas market. And quite frankly, I think a lot of you want to hear about World America and learn more about what she has to offer because she's going to be coming in at a cheaper price point, but a very similar experience to a Royal Caribbean Oasis class that I know a lot of people love. So that's really the reason why I'm choosing it. It's not necessarily because of the ship. It's more because I think you all kind of want to hear about it. And so I made a decision on, let's go over there. And I've enjoyed my time on MSC, got a good deal. Why not? How do I keep them interesting and don't get boring? I don't know that I do. There, like this past cruise that I was on, I won't say that it was boring. It wasn't that it was boring. I was boring. That's probably the better way to look at it. My energy level this weekend was non-existent. I wanted to relax. I wanted to stay in my cabin. I wanted to read my book. I wanted to do those kind of things. I wanted to make a few YouTube videos. And then I would catch up with friends that were sailing with me for dinner, for pre-drinks, maybe see a show. Last night, we didn't even do that because I was like, I'm just going to go back to my room now. So I think that's part of the thing when you cruise a lot is every cruise doesn't have to be interesting. It doesn't always have to be exciting. I'm literally going to do it again next weekend. So it's okay if I have a down weekend. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy getting away. I still like being on the ship, and to a degree, I like pulling myself out of an environment. When I'm on land, I can be Mr. Busybody. I can always be doing something, and my calendar's always booked. This forces me to relax, to chill out, to sit down and do absolutely nothing, and I love it. So that's probably my answer to it is yes, sometimes I'm boring, intentionally so. They're not all interesting. The people are what makes it interesting if I meet folks, but otherwise, there's a lot of rinse and repeat to it, but I'm kind of a creature of habit. I don't mind that. And there's always things that change or go different. I mean, it's neat. Like you get a new cast on, you get a new cruise director. Things are always changing on the cruise ships. So you just learn how to roll with it and to make it what you want. I don't even understand why they would be pitching the drink package like the last 3 days at least. At that point, it's just not worth it unless they're selling it at a prorated amount. I don't understand that. Yeah, sorry you had that experience, Anthony. That does not sound like a good experience. Jigs. Interesting concept. So far, they've not done a true drama. They have done musicals. They've not ventured into the drama side. But quite frankly, Death of a Salesman, I would love it. And I think a lot of us are probably on the cruise need a little kick in the pants on don't work yourself to death. It is not worth it. And I enjoyed the book as a child. I say as a child, I guess I was a teenager when I read it. And I enjoyed the actual stage production as well of Death of a Salesman. So I would welcome that. I would probably see that a lot. I like dramas. I love musicals, but I also like dramas as well. Rock of Ages, is that a Broadway show? I don't think that I realized that. I thought it was just a collection of songs that they were singing in like this concert kind of vibe. Well, Ben, you can't tell us you did Butcher's Cut and the queso teppanyaki without telling us what you thought. But good to know. Hopefully they were, I mean, one thing that I found on MSC too is their specialty restaurants are reasonably priced. I don't feel like they're gouging their prices for that. Whereas if I go over to Royal Caribbean these days, to get into chops is like $60, $75. It can be pretty expensive these days. For an Asian cruise that is port intensive, Javaholic. So I chose the Celebrity cruise that went from Singapore to Hong Kong, and then it just repeats that and goes back down. So you're going to have limited sea days. You're going to have a few, but not many. And I think on cruises like that, it's going to be 12 nights minimum. Having a sea day is going to save your life because these ports are intensive. You leave first thing and you come back late at night. But I looked at Celebrity and had a blast on the Celebrities. Excuse me, on the Celebrity saying there's a few options over there, but that's who I would recommend. I'm the same way. You know, there comes a time that you want to get off, but then you want to go right back. So I get that. Ben, my pleasure. I always enjoy you all coming and keeping me company, hanging out with me. I am always super honored that you choose to spend your evenings with me. So with that, I did last call for questions earlier, so I'm going to call it a night. Mr. Joe, thank you for joining us. I think I'm all caught up on all of the questions anyway, and I'm tired. It's time for bed. So thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Always humbled. This is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.